a victim.
There we go. Much better.
I'm gonna tell you about the afterlife. I'm gonna tell you about what happened last night. I'm gonna tell you about my insanity. Hello, my friend. This is the Chris and Mike Show on WNBC.
What up, brother?
NBC. Not really on WNBC.
I've seen that movie.
I have too. The Howard Stern Show.
Yes,
Or
sir.
the movie about the Howard Stern. The Howard Stern. He used to be really good, and he got stupid. Now I just don't like him anymore. He's boring. He's like he broke through, right?
Okay.
Like significantly in mainstream everything, right? And then he just kind of like he was a shock jock, right? Like he pushed the boundaries of everything, right? And then he just kind of it's just I've listened to him a few times and just like, dude, you're so opinionated now. Number one.
I'll agree with you there.
You're super boring, and it's this. Okay, and it's just not. It's not as good as it used to be.
Is it that it's not as good as it used to be, or did we evolve with him in that we accept so much more? So think back to Leave It to Beaver,
It's true.
right?
Okay.
Compare
The
Leave
Lord?
It to Beaver
Yeah.
to Three's Company
Okay.
to Howard Stern.
Oh.
To where we're at now with
Right.
like Rogan and his cronies who have taken comedy to a whole nother level, right? You had Richard Pryor, you
Yeah,
had Red
yeah,
Fox, you had George Carlin. They all were edgy comics. They said things that were out of the norm. You know, they shocked people. So
Yeah.
I agree with you that I don't think he feels the need to do quite as much of that anymore because we accept more than he actually did for the most part when we were considering him a shock jock.
Right.
I just think we've evolved to the point where
Yeah, that's true. It could be. Yeah, it could be. Hey, it's just I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's got to be it because it's. I remember watching him on his midnight show, like in the early '90s when Nemesis was around. That's when his show was on over midnight. You know, when like I forget what some cable network thing, but even you know what I mean. He had like the Hollywood Squares thing with Underdog, the woman Underdog, and all the weird little characters and shit. So, you know. It could be just that we've just grown up and he just doesn't shock us anymore, which is probably part of it because the whole world is different than it was when he started. You know.
and I'll be honest, I've only listened to his show through YouTube when he has bands on there, so I only hear the interaction that he has with the artists. You know, like I watched the Black Crowes recently.
Okay.
Metallica.
Yeah.
So I really haven't listened to his show since I lived in Chicago going to college in the, late 80s, early 90s. I guess it was early 90s, 91, 92. I moved to Phoenix in 93, so
Yeah.
the whole time I was going to college, that was a big deal, man. I actually recorded his show on cassette tape and listened to it in my car, like to and from school, you know? Everybody wanted to know what happened on Stern that day.
Yeah. This is true.
Because, some people would refer to us as characters. He had some very interesting characters that hung out with him. It wasn't just him. It was the people that he surrounded himself with that were equally as funny and just added to the show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the one thing, too, that I'm going to open up. We're going to open up the chat window. Where's the chat window, Mike? Chat.
It's on the right-hand side. It says chat. It's a little bubble.
On the right. Chat. It's a little bubble. I see. I have a question mark. It says chat support help center and copy technical. Hey, so in case you're wondering what we're doing, we're finally doing this live, we think. So we wanted to be able to open up the chat And it just has a question mark. It doesn't really tell me what to do. What
Yes,
to do,
so
what to do. I don't
we'll
know.
try to do this periodically. There's a link on Facebook. Just click on the link. It actually brings you to our studio, and there's a chat box there. You can chat live, ask questions. You can watch the show from that link that we're going to post there. And if you have a Twitch account, I don't even know what Twitch is, so you can all laugh at me right now. I'm going to learn what it is because it looks pretty cool, but we're live there right now too.
I don't know what Twitch. I don't know what Twitch is either, Mike. So you're not alone. You are not alone.
It looks
In
like
the big
it's
world of the
a
world.
live YouTube kind of deal. Like it's mostly or all live channels streaming constantly.
That's cool.
So people are developing their own little worlds inside this platform, which is really cool because that's what we're trying to do, right? Find like-minded people who want to debate civilly.
Life.
Not looking for
Yes.
challenging as much as to debate civilly.
We always debate civilly, which is why I'm wearing I'm voting for a felon hat because Mike understands that neither one of us really want to vote for whoever's running, and
I
we're gonna
laughed my
write
ass
in,
off when I saw it. He knows that.
We're gonna write in Monty Brewster now, boys and girls. If you know who Monty Brewster is and you listen to this episode, send us a private message on the Facebook machine. And you're gonna get something because if you know who Monty Brewster is, then you're our people, man. So
Absolutely.
therefore, you're gonna write in Monty Brewster. Dude, a classic. This guy's life was amazing. He was. Can I tell the story? I probably can't tell the story because then you know who he is if I tell you who he is. So I'm not gonna tell you the story. It's a wonderful story about this human and the great things that he did.
Absolutely.
Change the world, man. Just change the world. It's mind-boggling.
After the contest, we can discuss it. I agree with that statement, though.
Yes, we can discuss it in full force, beta. So I switched. I left Orangetheory Fitness. We talked about this the other day, right?
Yeah.
We didn't talk about it on air. So I left Orangetheory Fitness. This is my friend, and this is my broker, Nick. And the reason why I'm doing this has nothing to do with Orangetheory Fitness, but Nick made these stir things right here.
Okay.
And what these stir things are for cups. Cups. I gotta figure out how to. Woo! Microphone. You know how to screen? You know how to take a picture of the screen on a Mac?
On the
I used to know how
actual
to do
computer?
Yeah.
No, but I'll tell you in a couple seconds while you tell the story.
Because it used to be Control 4, or maybe not. I don't know. So Nick made these little stirs, and last week, Nick lives about maybe a block or so from our office, and he lives about 2 blocks or so from his friend Jeremy, who he works out with at Orangetheory Fitness. Nick has one of those scooters that you jump on, electric scooters, and you go cruising. Well, on his way to Jeremy's house, because they were going to carpool to Orangetheory Fitness, Nick did a Peter Pan as he waved to the homeless friend. Didn't realize there's a concrete ballard in the sidewalk, and he hit that, and he Peter Panned over the scooter, shattered one elbow, broke both arms.
Oh, no.
One arm is weird; doesn't have to be in a cast.
Fuck.
Yeah. So we had this retreat. Like every year we have an annual retreat, which is a blast. We go up to Muntz Park. This one was a lot more fun to me because we just hung out. It wasn't this chaos, and like last year's a scavenger hunt. Everybody was kind of moving around all the time, and it just wasn't as chill. Because we happy hour Friday night at Jeremy's cabin and dinner Saturday night at Nick's cabin. But both nights it was cool to kind of hang out with the peers and talk, and it wasn't really talking about anything related to business per se. It's just kind of getting to know people on a level that we didn't get to know them. So I dug it. I thought it was a blast.
I love that too.
So he made these so he made these stirs, right?
Okay.
So we decided when we were up there, we were gonna take these stirrers with us, and every now and then just have a picture of them in a random spot that Nick would never go. Well, Nick would never be on my podcast because there's no reason for him to be on the podcast. But here's a stir head of Nick.
Now he's on the podcast. Look at that. See how that's how these things happen. That's how these things happen.
Yeah, but
I never thought I'd be on a podcast either, so I started one.
Right, and so that's why I was like, how do we? I feel like I'm being boring today, but I wanted to like, how do I capture my screen on my Mac so I can post this, And I just can't figure out the secret. Because I know there's a secret.
Okay, so you do Shift, Command, and any 3 keys.
Mm-hmm.
Shift, Command, and any 3 keys. That's a screenshot.
That's a lot of keys.
I know. It's hard to do when you don't have another hand.
Oh shit! No! It wanted me to leave the site. I don't want to leave the site. Cancel. It wanted me to leave the site.
Don't leave. Don't leave.
What the fuck was that about? Yeah. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. See if it works. That worked. Okay, I had to use both hands, but it worked.
Okay.
So Control or Command Shift and Command Shift and 4 makes your mouse be able to create the thing. So I just created the thing with that. Whew. I got it. We're safe now. That's it. Have a nice day. Thanks for stopping by.
All the problems of the world solved in 11 minutes and 49 seconds.
Solved right there. So let's talk about Orangetheory Fitness. If you don't know what Orangetheory Fitness is, it's a 60-minute interval training.
Okay.
The whole concept of Orange. Oh, there's somebody in our chat, Mike. Chat. Hello, friends. Somebody said, hello, friends.
Yeah,
and
it's
they
me.
said what?
That's
hello.
me.
Oh, that's you?
Hello. Yeah.
Oh,
How you
hello,
doing?
Mike. Oh, I just said hello
Pretty
back
good.
to you.
How you doing?
That was exciting.
Nice to see you.
Let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation in the chat and not talk on screen, and it'll fuck everybody up. It'll be dead
Let's
air.
talk about the people who are listening right now privately in the chat window. So you better get your ass on the show live to see what we're talking about you. Right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man.
Dead air.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Is that like dead
So,
ant? Dead ant?
Orange Theory is at 6. Yeah. Dead ant. It's like people used to do Dunham. Because Pink Panther shit.
Yes.
Like clever. So Orange Theory, 60-minute interval training. Was there for 10 years. Championed the whole Orange Theory cult. Everything, like I posted about it, shared stories. I was wearing orange, right? I was there so long, and I was dedicated to it so much. I actually had moments where I thought about getting their little Orange Theory splat tattoo, and I didn't. But there's moments because I'd spent so much time there, over 2,500 classes, and there was a situation that occurred where I hooked up the manager of the studio to meet her quota, which in turn helped this other chick get a bonus, which then. She was swing it to where 2 of my people I work out with got discounted rates the next month, and I would go back to Founders Wage, which was $90 a month, and I was like, "That's cool. I can, I see the value in that. I'll hook you up because I've known you for years." This manager followed, inadvertently went to 3 different studios, and managed each one. So it was kind of cool that kind of followed, and the progress this manager's making is phenomenal, with changing the dynamic of in-shapeness and stuff. So Nikki and I take Nikki. So Nikki's never gone. She's gone, but she hasn't gone in years. So we set it up to where I'm going to bring her on this Friday. About half of the class knew she was coming. All the office staff except the manager, because she wasn't there, knew she was coming. There was 4 coaches that actually were taking the class that knew she was coming. So everybody knew she was coming. The only reason why I say this is at Orange Theory, you're not supposed to sign until you get there, which I get. But there's so many times I walk in or somebody walks in and they don't even look at the board where they're signing in. They just walk into the studio and start working out, which means somebody has signed them in prior to and they let them know that, which is against the rules. Don't care. Whatever. They also have this rule where if you show up to the studio at 5:01, 5 minutes and 1 second after it started, you're not allowed to work out. They want you to be preconditioned and kind of pre-warm up Orange Theory is an intense type of workout, especially if you're not in shape. I got in such good shape at Orange Theory, I actually out-fitnessed Orange Theory so I could never hit splats. And what splats are, you get certain levels of your heart rate and what they call the orange zone, which is zone 2 on like your Garmin's and stuff. The more you get in the orange zone, if you get at least 12 minutes of that, then you continue burning your metabolism for the next 24 hours. So you could go every other day and still kind of be burning fat the next day. And I'm that guy that I went basically 5 days a week. There was about a year where I was going 8 workouts a week. So I was going Monday, back-to-back workouts Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and one each on Tuesday, Thursday. So one of my friends that I work out with messaged me, "You guys coming?" I was like, "Yeah, we're running late because I had to take little man to school, had to come back and get Nikki, and then go because I couldn't take Nikki with me to take little man to school because it would have created chaos. They wouldn't want to go to school." So we roll up about 8:27. We walk in, and lo and behold, the person behind the desk refused the request to just jot us next to these 2 people that I've always worked out with, probably the last 3-4 years for the most part, except when I was in my boot. So that pissed me off. And so there was a conversation going, and I kind of said, well, some people are being assholes. And as I turned, the word asshole came out staring at the person behind the desk. Now, understand, since I've been at this studio, there has been, I'd say, every 4 months turnover, except for the manager, except for the trainers. Everybody else turns over because you can't keep part-time, minimum wage. They just, flakes, right? So
Right.
I get a call the next day from the head trainer, who is this, like, she's very pompous. I never realized how pompous she was and what kind of snob she is, kind of the nose in the air, like I'm better than you. She's part of one of those top 3 religious organizations in the world that are very, very lucrative. Starts with an L. And then ends with an S, or starts with an L. The 3 letters of the religion. The first letter of the 3 is L, and then the second one is D, and then the third one is S. If you follow me.
I'm with you.
When I said what I said, I said, was it out of line? Yeah, I said, but I was irritated. Everybody knew she was coming. Blah blah blah. Should I not have said it? Probably not. So she proceeds to tell me that I'm basically banned from that studio. I can't come back to that location. And I'm like, well, that's fucked up. You're going to choose, minimum wage person that's going to be there for 2 months over somebody who's not only 10 years of Orange Theory, but Orange Theory itself, the corporation, actually saw the amount of stuff that I posted about this workout and this lifestyle that they actually invited me to join their social committee, meaning they were sharing all my posts worldwide as I would post them because that's how much I was an advocate for what Orange Theory does to human beings. It gets you lean and fit. It gets you trimmed down. I mean, it's legit. When I started there 10 years ago, it was right after my neck surgery. Not right after, but 6 months after. I went, this day one was 216 pounds. By February the following year, coupled with, I found isogenics, was actually down to 168 pounds. So that's a testament of what Orange Theory's concept
Absolutely.
is, along with, changing up your eating habits, things like, right? So you can no longer come work out at the studio. I'm like, well, what, you can go everywhere else? I'm like, I'm not going anywhere else. I'm like, there's no other studios within my distance that would warrant travel time and be able to get there. So I'm like, no, cancel me. You guys, you suck, basically, this head trainer at the location I worked out at. So yeah, they showed their true colors and sent me a message that was an anonymous message because they blocked me. Oh, and here's a fun thing. When this person called me and I just happened to open my app up on the phone, they already removed me from all my workouts for the rest of the month. So that's how petty they were. Was I wrong? Yeah. Did I admit that I was wrong? Yeah. Never had the opportunity to go to the person that caught it because as I turned and said it, they said, who are you talking to? And I was like, I think you know who I'm talking to. And then when the head trainer calls and I lay all those things out for her, she's like, now understand the head trainer is supposed to know what's going on in the studio, but she has no idea that all these people walking in and not signing up and just going straight to work out. People are coming in after the allotted time. And I saw somebody the week I got removed. Like, kid you not, this person showed up about half an hour into the workout, and they walked right in the studio and got a treadmill. And I was like, what the fuck? Didn't say anything because it's none of my business, but still. You can't say, hey, you have to do this, this, and this. And then over here say, oh, it's okay. These are fake names. It's okay, Gerald and Bob and Nancy and Sue. You can just come on in. We got you signed in. Don't worry about it. I got you on this tread and that tread and blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of a fucked up situation. And because I ripped things off like a Band-Aid, I'm no longer there. So I took a week off from working out, which was nice. I found this new place called Suffer City. And let me tell you, dude, it is fucking outstanding. It is like today was a move workout, okay? So what that means is we started with a warm-up. And then we had to go do... Yeah, it was a tag team. You got to kind of follow this, okay? So
right.
Like you and I are working out. We're partners, okay? So
okay.
I start on the treadmill. You start on the pull-up. You start on the pull-up bars. So you got to do 30 pull-ups in 2 minutes, and then come tag me, or not tag me. You tag somebody else because we don't want the other teams to win. There's 4 teams in there. So you get your pull-ups done. You go tag one of the other runners, and down the line. So you do that like 4 times, and then we did these 30-second things where you're on the bike for 30, or you're on the tread 30 seconds. Now, and treadmills, by the way, are they're the manual treadmills. They're not electric, so they basically go like a hamster wheel. You're going like a hamster because your momentum makes the treadmill go. So 30 seconds on the tread. The partner's doing 30. What are they? Five. It's 5 power snatches and bench press rows and squat. It's just, I should have took a picture of it because it was fucking insane, and I'm losing what I'm saying. But it's like 800 plus calories in 50 minutes, and like you legit needed the 60 to 90 second breaks in between each thing. Like we did baseline last week, so one of the days we had to do pull-ups. I'm like, fuck, I haven't done a pull-up. I'm gonna suck at pull-ups. I actually did 7 pull-ups, traditional pull-ups where your arms are out straight at a V like that. And
yeah, I'm not sure I could do one.
Straight, and you're pulling yourself up over the chin. Right. I did 7. Almost
That's
8,
good,
but only 7 because you only count. That's what I thought. I'm like, fucking A. So then you have these other pull-ups you do, which it's weird. It's a swing pull-up. I don't even know how to explain it, but you grab the bar and you push out and you pull back in and when you pull back in, you pull up. It's a weird dynamic. It's pretty badass, but it's weird. I did 3 of those. This dude I'm working out with Jason, he did 30 of those like they were nothing. Like he did 20 because I was running while he was doing them and I was counting. He did 20 and then kind of hung for a minute and then the other 10. I'm like, fuck, dude, like yeah,
that's a beast.
So it's a legit fucking it's yeah, it is. And the cool thing is everybody there that I met is like just super cool. Like it's a small knit group because you have anywhere from 8 to 20 people. But it's just they're really cool. They're really kind, and they're like while we're doing this, I got a text from Suffer City Concierge, okay, which I never got before. And they're like, hey, Chris, this is Cece over at Suffer City. I hope you're recovering from today's move class. It was a tough one. Just checking in to see if you're liking classes and if there's anything we can do to help your experience. I'm like, I'm rocking. I loved it. I'm like, I've loved every workout
awesome.
So far. Right. Dug the baseline stuff last week. I was impressed that I could do pull-ups, and today was like fucking 20 pull-ups, dude. Like, shit you not. And then one of the other parts of the workout, you had to go back and do 5 pull-ups. Like I think 12 times. So I don't know how many fucking pull-ups I did, and tomorrow I'm gonna hurt because I don't hurt the day of workouts. I hurt the day after. So, and then I introduced Nikki to the sled because, oh fuck me, Mike, with a pogo stick. You got a 50-pound sled, okay? You know what I'm talking about? You've seen these things, NFL players, they push the sled, right?
Absolutely.
Okay? They're pushing this sled. Right. Well, the guys at Suffer City put 300 pounds on. So basically you have 250 pounds of weight in a 50-pound sled. 5 laps. Up and back is one. And, dude, let me tell you what. Took me 4 minutes and 14 seconds. That was the hardest fucking 4 minutes and 14 seconds of my life because you think you're in shape, but your muscle endurance is not in shape. And that's what a sled is. It's muscle endurance. I got 2.5 were cool. Like 2.5 were cool. And then all of a sudden, from 2.5 to 3, it's like, fuck, I can't breathe. I had to stop. I had to stand up. I had to throw the hands in the air. I had to get my inhaler out, which I never like to use because I feel like a pussy using my inhaler. And I was just like, fuck, this fucking sucks, man. But now I know. Now I know I got to do it again in 10 weeks and beat 414. So then I got Nikki at EOS because we go to EOS for her, and we got on the sled. And I did 240, and I did 5 laps of 240. That still kicked my ass. She did, 135? 5 laps, and it kicked her ass. But it's a badass thing. Because it's working your entire, it works your calves, your knees, your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, your shoulders, your core, your pecs. I mean, it's like a full body fuck you workout, and it's insane. So I cannot champion enough for stuff for sitting there local, and it's cool, man. You walk in and it smells like sweat. Like that's what you walked in the day. It's like fuck, it smells like sweat. That's because it was move day. They have sculpt days where they just focus on arms or legs, like tomorrow's squat leg day. So, I'll be fucking walking funny tomorrow or Thursday.
Just the fact that they're cool people.
So, yeah, it's fun, man.
That makes you want to go do something that even people that want to do it like yourself don't really want to do it. There's days that you could just say, fuck it. Right. If the people there were dicks and, the first experience you had at the end, if there's too much of that, then, something that is positive in your life all of a sudden became negative, and these people just made it super positive again, and you're excited about it, and it's something you enjoy. And for those of you that don't know, because this is your first podcast, this is Chris's way of dealing with his recovery and addiction. So we all trade something. I play a lot of guitar and listen to a lot of music.
Right.
But no matter what you're doing in life, if the people around you are not supportive and positive, it becomes real shitty real quick. And I don't understand why more people can't learn that lesson. It's as simple as if you had a good mother like I did, she always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. It took me like 30, 40 years to really put that into practice. There's a time and a place to ruin someone's day, but they're so far and few between, it's not even funny. I can't remember the last time I made a point of doing that.
Right. And I didn't, and I do have a short fuse when it comes to shit. So I went a couple of days later, I went to my therapist. I'm like, I need help with my little short fuses. Because Nikki's like, sometimes my reactions don't warrant what just happened. So like, everybody that knows me knew I was pissed at that situation because it was well played, it was well informed, everybody knew.
Right.
So, and I felt it. I mean, I was pissed, like my blood was boiling because it's like, what the fuck? Like you knew she was coming. She hasn't come like in probably 4 years. She hadn't been to Orangetheory. Like this was a big deal. Like everybody knew she was coming. They wanted to, get to meet Chris's wife, that type of thing, because we talk about her all the time and shit. And so, it's just one of those things where I just lost my cool, which I do, which it happens. But it's just fucked up that they didn't.
Me too.
They didn't take that into account. But again, and Nikki's like, it's better because you were stuck at Orangetheory. Now you found something better. There's not a lot of cardio to it as far as the running's concerned. But when you're pushing a fucking sled of 300 pounds, that's cardio. And it's muscle endurance. It's helping build muscle. Yeah.
I can hear it in your voice.
Go ahead.
You can hear that you're excited about it. And for me, I can see you. I'm looking at you. For those of you that are watching the video, as he's talking about it, he's excited about it. And that's
right. Yeah. Yeah.
That just proves her point right there. All the other stuff is in the past, and however it ended, it was for a reason, because you ended up at a place where these people are like, not only positive, but they're following up with you and asking, what can we do to make your experience better? Which is the whole point of running a business, right?
Right.
You and I talked.
Absolutely. And Orangetheory staff, Orangetheory staff and stuff were cool. I'm not gonna say they were assholes or anything, from that just one moment. But the close, like I've met everybody. I met both owners now of Suffer City, and I know all the staff. Just from interacting with them, basically this was my 6th true workout with Suffer City. So, it is. It's very welcoming. It's very inviting. I mean, you walk in and you're going to get your ass kicked, and you're going to get your ass kicked, and it's you against you, which is kind of cool. And then, so Jason and I, that whole tag team thing, we actually were 3 points off the best time of the day, and it was all calorie stuff. We were 3 points away. And they were like, holy shit, Chris, this is like your 6th day, your first real move class, and you were 3 points away, you and Jason, from actually being the top team of the day, which I thought was fucking cool.
That's awesome.
So there's that kind of stuff, Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you experienced...
So, hey, check this out. We'll make this...
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I was gonna do a commercial. This portion of the show is brought to you by Suffer City, Gilbert, Arizona. Suffer City enriches the experience of sustaining health using innovative training technologies in team-driven, highly intense competitive fitness sessions, gamified for optimal management. By delivering an evolved training experience and unmatched results in performance, physique, and psychological well-being, we, Suffer City, aims to prove the equality of the individual American who serves the interest of their community. Suffer City. Call today.
What's our website?
I should really do commercials and shit, man.
We're going to.
SufferCityAZ.com, I think. Let's see. Yeah, SufferCityAZ.com.
Once we have something to offer
Like
people,
when Jake was,
we're going to start doing that.
Yeah.
We just don't have the...
Right, we can do our movie phone voice.
We don't have the click-through to bother anybody with it yet, but believe me, when there's enough people every month that are downloading on a consistent basis, and we're getting there quicker than I had anticipated, especially on your YouTube channel. But once we get to that point, for sure, man, it'll be worth somebody's time and effort to have you read a promo.
Yes, it'll be fun.
Or I will invent an entire story about your company if you want it to be funny. All positive, of course.
Right? Absolutely. Everything's positive, man. Everything's positive.
Yeah. I'll just have fun.
Yeah. So that's my Suffer City Orange Theory stuff. So there you go. And I'm wearing my vinyl shirt today because it's Alex Lifeson's birthday. Don't know how old he was, but if those of you don't know, Alex Lifeson is a guitar player for Rush, the legendary band Rush, who I've seen 17 times. So pretty
Rush
awesome band if you
concert.
never saw them live, and you can't see them live now because Neil Peart died. Oh yeah.
Your Rush concert going is on par with my Metallica concert going. I think I've seen them 11.
Right. Yeah.
Either 11 or 12. I can't remember which. First time in 1988, last time in 2009.
Right on. I've seen Metallica twice, I think. Yeah, maybe twice. The thing about
he was
Rush,
born in 1953, so he's 71.
Really? Wow.
Yes,
Way
sir.
to go, Alex.
Just looked it up.
And it's not really his name. He's Polish. Look at you looking shit up. And one of the vinyl records I bought in my first little vinyl record days was Moving Pictures. I remember looking at that album cover, and just how cool it was. They had some cool album covers, man, for sure.
Awesome, absolutely. The Big Owl.
Yeah. And then they had, they just, albums were cool, man. The dying art of album covers. What happened to them?
Isn't that what Lenny Kravitz's dad did? Wasn't he an artist for big bands, like all those 70s bands? I think he was.
Been cool.
I'm pretty sure his mom was an actress.
His mom was on a. Yeah, she was.
The Jeffersons, right?
I forget what show she's on, but on. Yep. She was the maid.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure his dad did artwork for all these famous bands because he said rock stars were always over at his house, and he didn't think of, maybe that's Slash. Maybe it's not Lenny Kravitz. Might have been Slash's dad was the artist, and Lenny Kravitz's mom was the maid on. I'm getting my people confused.
Yeah, she was Roxy. Lenny Kravitz's parents. The mom was Roxy Roker.
Yeah, but I think Slash's dad is the one I'm thinking of. Was the artist for the album covers.
Okay, so
a lot of the ones you're talking about.
Okay, so
Rush.
Yeah.
Van Halen.
Yeah. Okay, so this. So mom, this is a trip actually because back then, they were an interracial couple, which is back when then that was like what the fuck. So she was an actress on Jeffersons and he was a producer for NBC. His dad. So they were two Hollywood powerhouses for sure.
Okay, so now look up what Slash's dad did.
I am Slash's parents. There's a cough on the thing. Sorry. I meant Slash's parents, man.
You did?
I coughed in the microphone. I was apologizing for coughing.
I thought you said you met Slash's parents.
No. His father is Anthony Hudson. Anthony Hudson is an English artist who created album covers for musicians such as Neil Young and Joni Mitchell.
Okay, yeah.
His
late 60s.
Mother was Ola Hudson. Yeah, she was an African-American costume designer whose clients included Ringo Starr, John Lennon, and David Bowie. She died of lung cancer in 2009. His mom did.
Yeah, so it was Slash in one of his documentaries that was saying, he didn't think of them as rock stars because from a little kid, they were always over at the house, and he did mention Neil Young and Joni Mitchell. They were just, Uncle Neil and Aunt Joni to him that's how he described it.
Gotcha.
Which is probably why
Slash
he's
and
such
his
a
wife
cool
have
rock
two
star.
children. Yeah. And he's got two kids, London Emilio and Cash Anthony. London and Cash Hudson are their boys. Because his real last name is Hudson.
Yes, and his real name is Saul.
That's a trip, man.
For those of you that aren't in the know.
Yeah, Saul Hudson. Yeah.
He got the nickname Slash from skateboarding, I think.
Yeah, probably.
I think he said he was a big skateboarder when he was in junior high or something. They called him Slash or some shit like that. It stuck.
Right on.
Just like a lot of nicknames do. Oh, yeah.
Right. That makes sense.
So, since I noticed we talk way too much politics, and I fucking hate politics, and I don't know how I got on that rant. Have you seen the astronauts that are stuck in space?
Sure. I don't watch the news.
Use the Google machine.
Why are they stuck in space?
Use the Google machine and type in astronauts stuck in space. You're going to get a kick out of this one. They were supposed to be there for like 3 days. They're not scheduled to come back till February now of next year. They're stuck there on the International Space Station.
Okay, so there it is. Boeing Starliner astronauts will spend at least 240 days stuck in space. Is that a new record? NASA astronauts Butch and Sunita will spend at least 8 consecutive months aboard the International Space Station as the Boeing Starliner spacecraft returns to Earth empty. Why did it return empty?
It has some kind of defect.
Yeah, the return flight, which will ditch the troubled Boeing Starliner aircraft that the crew rode in favor of a SpaceX vehicle, has no confirmed date. Ever the best case
They're stuck there. We fucking stranded 2 people in space. Shit. We're like, hey, you want to take a ride to space? Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, we'll come. You can come back in 2-3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got bad news. Fuck you.
You're not coming home. And
hey, remind me.
It says it's
real
far
quick.
from a record. He said,
hold on.
Okay.
Remind me real quick that I have a statement to make after you read that because I got another thing that'll blow your mind I just heard. related to space.
Okay. So for 8 straight months in space sounds like a lot, but is far from a new record. Astronauts typically spend an average of 6 months aboard the International Space Station, where they conduct experiments and maintain the space station before returning to Earth. According to the live science sister site, space.com. However, missions can extend many months longer for a variety of reasons, including long-duration experiments and unforeseen incidents. So, there you go. You're free to roam about the cabin. Now, what were you going to say, Mike?
Can I unfasten my seatbelt and can I get a whiskey and Coke, please?
Yes. Yes, you can.
So the interesting fact I heard the other day was we have not been, and you can use the Google machine to correct me, but I don't believe we have been more than 40 miles above the Earth's orbit since 1972 when the last Apollo mission went to the moon. Supposedly went to the moon. Which is 248,000 miles away. Let me take that back.
So total
I think we've never been
here.
more than 4 miles above the Earth's surface since 1972.
Okay. So I just had a weird fucking. What the fuck did I do? I had a weird.
I don't know.
ADHD moment. I had this thing on my Mac, and it said, "Oh," I clicked on it. A Google Eye. It was called Google Eye, and fucking like holy shit! I clicked on a.
Don't be
picture,
clicking
took
on
me to a
shit
site
while
thing.
we're
It was a trip.
doing
Google
the
Eye.
podcast.
I'm my bad. Google Eye.
I'm just
Google
being
Eye.
funny.
How far do we hover above space?
Stop playing with your toys.
Above the atmosphere, right?
Yes.
Above the atmosphere? Is that what it is?
Yeah, like with the
atmosphere.
International Space Station. I think it's 4 miles.
100 kilometers is the altitude. Okay.
I don't do kilometers.
International law. I don't either. International law defines the edge of the atmosphere for legal purposes to be at an altitude of 100 kilometers. That means internationally, people become astronauts when they fly above the altitude of 100 kilometers. The altitude of 100 kilometers is called the Kármán line and is in the lower thermosphere. Okay, so
You need a
100
better
kilometers means
source.
100 km 2 miles. 100 kilometers 2 miles. It's 62 miles. 62 miles.
Okay.
Is considered.
So then
being
maybe
space.
they said we've never been more than 400 miles. It doesn't matter. Supposedly we went 200
matter.
and some thousand miles from 1968 or 69, whenever it was first time, 67. Anyway, from that time till 1972, we supposedly went, 13 times? 200 and some thousand miles? Don't die on us.
Wrong pipe.
I'm going to do my rant while Chris regains his air because he swallowed something down the wrong pipe. I get it. So
Is my healthy shake. It's wrong pipe.
13 times we supposedly went 200 and some thousand miles through the Van Allen radiation belt. All this footage survived. I mean, it makes you wonder, why have we never been further than that? I mean, we've never even explored like low Earth orbit. We put a space station up there, which basically just orbits the Earth.
Right.
I don't get it. I guess my question is, do you think we went to the moon? I've been back and forth with this probably 50 times.
I know.
Now I'm back to I don't think we went.
I want to say yes. But the more technology comes out, and the more of conspiracy theories, right? The more I kind of tend to believe maybe not so much, and we'll never know because all the astronauts are dead now. That landed up there supposedly. I will let you know right now.
I think so.
There's 11,300. Yeah, there's 11,330 individual satellites orbiting the Earth at the end of June 2023.
Yeah,
that's
that's a
38%
problem.
Increase since January of 2022. It's totally a problem. That's why I googled it, man. I
just heard
how many
that,
satellites
too.
are in space right now?
A fuck ton.
8,261 satellites.
That's a technical
8,261 are orbiting the Earth.
Fuck ton.
That was it is a technical term. That was still. So it's not it's not new data. It's not. This is like 2 years old data because everything I'm seeing is 22, 22, 22. There's nothing. And how long do they last in space? Several years to several decades. How many satellites fall a day? How many satellites fall daily?
The statistic I heard said that if we keep launching satellites at the rate that we're launching them, we're literally going to run out of room and we won't be able to leave the planet. That was the danger. I just remembered it. We will be trapped here if we continue to launch satellites at the rate we're going, because what you're looking up now, how long do they last? It doesn't matter how long they last
several
if they
years
never
to
come
several
down.
decades. Right.
They're stuck in orbit, right? They don't all crash.
Right. This is true. But between 200 and 400 tracked objects enter Earth's atmosphere every year. That's about one every day. Thankfully, human populations are rarely affected by things falling from the sky. But does space junk fall from the sky?
The guy that I was listening to said it's not the fear of the stuff falling from the sky. It's that if we keep launching them at the rate we're launching them, we will literally trap ourselves on this planet.
Well,
he couldn't have been any more serious if he tried.
You know, I wasn't like...
No, you and I aren't.
I wasn't planning on going anywhere.
There might be a time where somebody needs to leave. You know, we've seen enough science fiction movies come true to know that that might come true as well. Where the only survival for the human race is that if we leave this planet. That's a possibility. We could fuck this place up so bad that our 2 generations from now got to go, or 1 generation from now.
Yeah.
I just heard a thing the other day that said that Ronald Reagan had a chance to dismantle every nuclear weapon in the United States. Gorbachev had his hand out, and Ronald Reagan was so dead set on his Star Wars project. And this isn't about politics.
Right.
This is a crazy fucking fact.
Okay.
He said no,
okay,
which was crazy. But every scientist that worked on the Star Wars project is fucking dead.
Yeah.
Every one of them. They're all gone. And if you Google it, they died under some crazy circumstances. Like the guy strangled himself to death. Suicide. Yeah, exactly.
Like, just, wow.
Another guy shot himself twice.
That's some dedication right there. If it's...
How do you shoot yourself twice?
I don't know how that's possible.
In the head, no less.
I don't know how that's possible. You missed the first time. I'm going to try it again.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
You that's people at home you're free to Google it. It's a fact. They're all dead. Because Star Wars was an abject failure. It could have never worked, and every one of those scientists that were being paid to work on it knew it. It was just an abject failure from the get-go. It's not possible.
Wow.
Might be possible now.
And what was
not
the whole purpose?
Possible.
What was the whole purpose of Star Wars? Not the
space
movie,
defense.
The satellite thing.
Yeah, space defense.
Oh, gotcha.
We were going to put missiles in space.
Episode, right?
This is episode number 44. Correct.
Right on.
Is somebody inquiring?
No, I went for my own understanding of where we're at. We're coming on a year's worth of shows.
I know. So for those of you at home,
6 weeks.
This time last year, Chris and I were like planning this podcast and talking about doing it. And because I'm a procrastinator, my partner over here was texting me about 3 times a day going, "Did you order your equipment yet? Do you got your shit together yet? Are you ready to go yet? Is the computer here yet?" He just is relentless, and that's what I need, and he knows that, and I enjoyed every minute of it. So that's why we're here talking to you, is because he doesn't take no for an answer. And that's another reason of the million that I have that I did this podcast with my buddy Chris. So thanks, man. It's been a blast.
Well, you're welcome. And the fun thing and the selfish thing behind that was also that I want to work on old Nemesis music and get it re-recorded and some new shit. So it wasn't necessarily just helping Mike get his podcast thing up and running. It was kind of like, look, we're going to do that, but we're also going to do this. So it kind of all, came, because it's
That's
the
a true
song
story.
that you hear, for those that are just maybe joining us, the song at the intro is a song called Free Man, right? Is that Free Man?
Yes, it is.
Or Nothing Man? It's Free Man. It's Free Man.
Yep, you got
Song Free Man that we wrote as a band back in the 90s, and there's a handful of our songs that no bullshit, even if they weren't our songs, I would still make this statement that they're still lyrically relevant today. That's just how we wrote shit. They could be played in today's, like Octane on Sirius would play some of our tunes, and it would hold up to what's being played today, musically, lyrically, melodically, because they were just that good of songs that we didn't realize how great we were at the time. At least I didn't.
I didn't.
But that's part of the reason this has happened, because I wanted to go down. It was the only band I've ever been in, but it's my favorite band I've been in. It was obviously Mike and I are still friends, which tells you that should tell you that alone right there, because the other bands I've been in, I don't have this kind of relationship with anybody. Mike, right? Because Mike was the one. I could kid you not, and I equate this to those of you that In Excess, Michael Hutchins and his bandmates kind of, and I'm not saying I'm Michael Hutchins, but it's the same kind of vibe to where I would write a song, I would write lyrics, and I write it in ballad format, where it's four line verses and a bridge and then a chorus. But I would give that to Mike before, during, or after a practice, and by the next practice, he would have music for it, and the music that he would create for that set of lyrics and that song epitomized the thought and the feeling that I wrote in that, because I wrote very descriptive, so he could tell the emotional content to it, the vulnerability of it, the anguish, or whatever the fuck it was. Nobody's been able to do that before him or since him when it comes to writing music. Nobody. Like, I've told you that before. Like, no one.
I appreciate that, man.
But
that's awesome.
how In Excess would put their music together, and then they'd play it for Michael Hutchins, and Michael Hutchins would go grab his lyric book, which Mike knows I had tons of lyric books, and he'd flip through his lyric book until he found a song that he knew would fit that music and the melody, and then boom, there was a song. It was that simple of a process when Mike and I would, like, here, dude, here's a song. I just wrote this, come up with something, and then legit, it was
fun. Every time.
And then there was tweaking. Yeah, and there was tweaking and shit. Yeah, and there's tweaking and shit. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't like going into the studio and recording Stairway to Heaven in one take. Oh my God, we're Led Zeppelin. Not that at all.
They didn't do that either.
But I know, but that's the story behind it. But it had the solid foundation of a song within 24 hours for the most part, based on lyrics I gave him, and that was just a cool thing. So part of this is because I wanted to get him back to playing music, because he wasn't playing music for a while. He had this trigger finger thing, but he wasn't. He was like in this hole, and he wasn't playing guitar. So I'm like, dude, we need to do this. So I started sending him songs and shit. I'm like, dude, check this one out, check this one out, check this one out. And so it kind of kept. I kept poking
wasn't a funk,
and you can see me on the screen. I'm poking him right now. Right, I'm funking. I unfunked him.
I'm the bear.
Because I unfunked him. Here we are. So
poke the bear.
So there you go. So as much as he credits the podcast to me pushing him, I was pushing him for other reasons, and this was a byproduct of that pushing, which to me it all is encompassing, because why the fuck?
Well, I'll tell you the one thing.
Look forward to this. So.
Yeah, I do every week, and it's been a mental release. And everybody that knows me to the level that Chris knows me knows that I have to have intelligent, deep, philosophical conversations on a daily basis. Things that scare most people and would bore you to fucking death, I want to talk about for 4 hours, So
yeah, exactly.
To your point about writing songs, that was a time for me to not think about anything other than the message that you were trying to portray. And sometimes I would misinterpret them my way, and it would come out somehow in a way that you were able to grab onto, even though I was thinking about it totally different. You and I have learned through doing this podcast that we didn't talk about certain things. You were just like, yeah, that music's awesome, man. I can totally do this here. And like you said, that, there would be times that we would take it to the band, and then Scott Pollock, the arranger guy, would say, well, you you got to do this so many times here, and we need a bridge here, and you got to tie this together here. And that's what is so hard for me now is I don't have that other person to bounce things off of. I'm not a drummer. I wanted to be a drummer like there's no tomorrow. That I'd get pots and pans out at my mom's house when I was like 2 or 3 and, bang on them and shit. I really wanted to be a drummer, but I found out that I can't make all 4 of my limbs do something independently of each other. So
yeah, that's hard.
Somehow through the universe putting me in the right place at the right time, my grandpa owned a gas station uptown, and this guy's like, have you ever thought about playing guitar? Joe Amato. Thank you, Joe. It's still something that keeps me entertained every day. So he just, for whatever reason, got tired of me hanging out there, or, just felt compelled to say, have you ever thought about playing guitar? And then started to teach me about music. This is the bass line. This is the drum beat, and then he introduced me to my buddy Bob, who taught me how to play. And it's to take it to the point where we were opening for national acts and playing sold out shows of our own on the weekends at the biggest clubs in Phoenix and just kicking ass every night was unimaginable to a kid sitting in his fucking bedroom at 12 years old with posters of rock stars all over their wall. I didn't imagine I would meet those rock stars, let alone share the stage with them and play with them. And you help make that happen. So to the people that are listening, that's the bond that Chris and I have that you probably will only ever have in a lifetime mate. Somebody you've been with for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. Then you could understand what sharing a stage and having a commitment to 3, 4, or 5 other guys or 6, or however many people are in your band. It's a commitment just like a marriage. You can't say on gig night, yeah, dude, I got something else going on. I can't make it. It's not an option because everybody is there to see you play.
And regardless how you feel, you're playing. Regardless of where your mind's at, you're playing. There's no
absolutely.
Oh, maybe no
sick days.
You're playing. It's game on. Yeah, it's game on. It's like let's go. There's nothing. And we played sick. We played with the flu. We played with all kinds of stuff because that's what you do.
Puking behind my amps. Not due to being fucked up. Thank you very much. Didn't do that while we were on stage.
Right. No.
Might have smoked a little.
No.
Might have smoked a little of the devil's lettuce before we went on stage. Me, Scott, Chris and Rick were usually pretty good.
Yep.
Rick was always pretty good. I don't think he smoked pot ever.
Like that.
Yeah, I like to call it the devil's lettuce.
Yeah, he and I hung out. Yeah.
Rick just wanted to jam.
Yeah, he and I never really partook in that stuff. Yeah, well, that's how I want to do. I just, I inadvertently smoked pot one night on stage, without realizing it.
At the electric ballroom.
Like into the when I get to the, I think second or third song, it was like, holy shit, this is the fucking greatest show ever, and I was just like, woo, And then what was it? Next
I will
practice?
never
I think we
forget
had the
that
day
night,
off
dude.
the next day, and then at practice I was talking about it, and you're like, dude, I didn't know what to say to you, but I'm like, what? So Mike used to put these cigarettes on the head of his guitar where the frets are. You like Eddie Van Halen. Everybody knows Eddie Van Halen. So Eddie Van Halen had a cigarette sticking on his keys, right, to tune the frets.
Yep.
And it was a big show at the ballroom. We were on the big stage. I forget who we were open for, but it was I think that maybe was the Marshall Tucker Band night. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was a Fender showcase night.
Yeah. So I was a little amped up. I was never nervous playing music because I loved being on stage. I loved interacting with people, but I'd have nervous energy. Like Mike would know, I would pace back and forth constantly and just I was
my leg
I don't
wouldn't
get
stop
runner's
shaking.
high. I never get runner's high. Yeah, so I got my endorphin, my runner's high, basically from stepping out in front of people. That was my thing. That was the high. That was what when I first was in a play in college, and my character, I had this small little role when I went out on stage and hit my lines, and I was a comic relief for the scene, and then it was like 200 people maybe in the auditorium, I don't know. But the cheer and the roar and the clap and the laughter and shit, and then when they wrote up the play the next day, the only thing they talked about, aside from the generalization of the play itself, was the character Morse and how he stole the show, which is my character. But that was it. That's what I want to do. I want that interaction. I want that high, because that's what it was to me. It was a high, just like, holy shit, I just impacted all these people by acting like this fucking idiot, because that's what I did to the character. I just made him this fucking idiot that walked out like a fucking penguin and had this I'm not going to do the voice, because I could still do it, but it would sound funny on the show. But I had this weird little voice I created, and I was in this tux, and it just evolved to this thing, and it was just, people remembered that shit more than anything else. And I'm like, that's what I want to do.
For me, it was what you described earlier, and I'm glad you said that, because I would have lost this. I was going to tell the story a minute ago, and I totally fucking squirrel momented it, but as you always do, you brought me back. So, you remember Window of Hell?
Oh, fuck yeah, I love that song.
So we got done playing that song one night, and I used to I ran sound for a band called the Diesel Dogs, and I don't remember his last name, but this guy, Toby, I totally respected as a guitar player. He was fucking amazing. Big, tall, red-headed kid.
Right on.
Played a Les Paul, had it slung down to his fucking knees, just ripped. He came to see us play one night.
Right on.
We were either playing at the Jar or Joe's Grotto or one of those places in Phoenix. And when we played that song last, and when we got done playing, he came up and gave me a big hug, and he said, when you were playing that solo, all I saw was bones, dude. They were like crashing into each other and fucking crumbling, and he's like, that's all I can describe. That's the only way I could describe it in pictures, is to say I just felt like just bones, man, and they were smashing into dust. And I was like, the fucking song's called Window of Hell, man. That's cool. Whole concept I was going for. I always was taught, when you're playing a guitar solo, you're taking over for the singer. So you have to keep the audience interested for however many measures till the singer comes back in. That's your job, right? So sometimes you follow the melody. Yeah. I would follow what you're singing, right? I would play my solo, like Listen to Your Sin. I pretty much just follow your melody for the solo.
Yeah.
It doesn't need any more than that.
Yep, exactly.
And then there's some times where you got to paint a picture. Eddie Van Halen is always described as all his solos feel like, and they do, from a musician, if you listen to his solos, they feel like you're falling down the stairs, but somehow you always land on your feet. That's the best way to describe how, because his sense of rhythm is so chaotic, but melodic at the same time. Like he'll do crazy shit that normal musicians wouldn't do, that are just a feel between him and his brother. I love shit like that. And Scott and I were always able to do that because we played together so much. So to get that kind of compliment, the reason I'm telling this story is because I've been asked several times in the last couple of weeks, especially when people find out that I'm playing again, I'm giving lessons again. You've totally brought me back to being a guitar player, which is awesome. So I've been asked a lot, do you know how to play the solo to this? Do you know how to play that? Do you know how to play this? And the answer is almost always no, because I did not spend my time learning how to play other people's music. I spent my time learning how to be what Chris describes as a badass fucking guitar player. People know me and they know my style, that know me as a musician, because I do have my own style. And that's the reason that we got attention. Right. Chris was a great front man. We were a great band. So you put those two combinations together, you have a recipe for success. And that was the whole idea behind starting that band, right? We wanted to take over the world. So to get that kind of compliment from another original musician was the first time in my life as a guitar player badass. I finally was able to say, I fucking did it. It was enough to hear you say it. It was enough to hear Scott say it. It was enough to hear Rick say it. But there's always that hint of, they're kind of obligated to tell you you're a badass, on some level. So to hear it from your peer who had no reason to come up, he gave me a fucking hug, dude. He just like bear hugged me. He said, that fucking solo, dude.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. I saw bones crushing. They were turning to dust.
That's
the
cool.
song's called Window of Hell, man. That's what I was going for. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I love you.
Cool. That's cool. I never knew that. I never heard that story. That's a good story, man. My soul is lost in the window of hell.
Great song.
Yeah, that's cool. Wonder if he's still around.
Oh, I'm sure. Probably married, kids. I don't know.
Yeah.
They had a blind drummer. She was legally blind.
Really?
And a woman, no less. Well, she was a girl then, but kicked ass.
Well, yeah.
Just fucking murdered that drum set. Well, I mean, she was young.
That's cool,
she wasn't
dude.
a woman yet. She was still a girl.
Oh, she was like a teenager?
We were all young back then. Probably 19, 20.
Yeah. It's a trip. Yeah. So 19. If she was 19, she was a teenager because 19, which is just weird to me.
She could not see to the point where they had to direct her to her drum throne. So, as long as her drums were set up the way that she needed them, she fucking murdered them.
Yeah.
But she was so legally impaired
badass.
that they had to get her out of her chair. They'd wheel her up to the stage, walk her up to her throne.
Holy shit,
set her down.
Badass, dude. Wow.
And then she would proceed to just kick your ass for that's why I ran sound for them. It was a fucking pleasure. They were a cover band. They had a couple originals, but for the most part, they were a cover band.
Right on. That's cool.
Yeah, that was a great compliment.
There's not a lot of people. There's not a lot of people either that play blind. Ronnie Millsap, he's blind, right? Stevie Wonder's blind. They're singers and piano players, right?
Jeff Healey. He was a guitar player.
His name? Jeff. That's right. It's just Jeff Healey. Yep, Jeff Healey, and he played on his lap for the most part. Still guitar a lot.
Ray Charles.
Yep, Ray Charles. Yeah, that's about it. That's all I can think of.
That's all I got off the top of my head.
I can't think of anybody else.
I'm sure Tony's listening to this going, yeah, and there's this guy and this lady and this guy, but I can't think of anybody else. So you should come on the podcast, Tony, and talk to us and tell us where we're going wrong.
Yeah.
He's busy. I have talked to him. He's reached out. So for those of you that have been following along from day number one and you've listened to every podcast, you heard me say that I had some knowledge to some things that I couldn't talk about. One of the things is Tony knew for a while that Aerosmith was going to be calling it quits, and it couldn't be public knowledge because he didn't know when. He didn't even think that tour was going to start. So now he's working on, he didn't come right out and use them as a name. He just alluded to saying that he's working on some live material for them, and that's all he would say. So he's been locked away in the studio.
Tony is with Aerosmith?
Not with the band. He's working on some... He's working on some live recordings that they had recorded of those shows to possibly, make an album or something.
Oh, well, that's cool. That would be cool. Kind of a farewell, because I don't blame them for cutting the tour short.
Well,
you do what you got to do.
I was kind of shocked because I'll tell you, the last video I saw of the last night of their show, he sounded amazing. So maybe the doctor told him, if you don't stop singing, you're not going to be able to talk pretty soon. I don't know what the, extent of his injury was or anything, but it's bad enough to where he said he had to call it quits. So basically from the get-go, Tony said, I don't foresee that this tour is even going to get off the ground, but he said if it does get off the ground, it'll never see its end. Those were his exact words, and look what happened. So,
well, no shit.
He's known those guys, all but one member. I can't remember which member he's not close with, but he's literally known all the guys in Aerosmith since the beginning. He's older than I am, so he was there for the early 70s shit.
Right on, dude.
He's coming. Awesome. For sure. He's committed. He just got busy out of nowhere. When you work for the people that don't know, just like Chris in the real estate business, It's not a 9-to-5 job. So what Tony does for a living is he's one of the most sought after front of house, which is the person that makes the concert sound like it sounds when you're there. So if it sounds super good, he's probably running the soundboard. If it sounds super bad, he's probably not. So that's the level of, unless it's Big Mick from Metallica or something. He's one of the most sought after front of house sound men. So that's a lot of his claim to fame. And then he's also a post-production guy. He does a lot of post-production stuff in the studio. He does a lot of recording as well, but I think he does a lot more where people come to him and say, hey, can you fix this or make this better? Or, the last band I was in, he mastered our project. So when we finally get him on here, we're going to have a lot to talk about. And once again, for those of you following along, tomorrow I'm getting my new internet. Thank you. Woohoo. Fuck. Oh, it's been a struggle for the last 43 episodes, 44 now, to have to wait 2 hours after I get done for the podcast to upload. I won't have to do that anymore.
Right?
Yeah.
No, it'll just be done. It'll just be done. You'll be happy. You'll be like, hey, podcast is done. Hit
check mark.
Hit close. Oh, it's uploaded. Which is cool because then you can do your edit down sooner, and I can have them scheduled to go YouTube sooner.
Absolutely. Last week I dropped the ball because I'm not used to my new schedule yet. On Friday I realized I hadn't edited anything yet.
Which is fine because I was up north, so
I didn't know that though.
That's why I was late because the internet up north sucked ass, so it never would have downloaded up there. I took my Mac with me because my Mac travels with me. That's the one beautiful thing about having a Mac; it's all in one. You just unplug it and take it.
Yep.
I love it. So
I got a MacBook
it doesn't
Pro
go on planes, but it travels with me.
And a case to go with it, so nice. Mine goes everywhere with me too.
Yeah. Yeah. So. It's very. I should probably do. I should get looking at a MacBook Pro. That would be kind of cool. And when it cools off, I could do this outside.
Well, and the nice thing is like I'm gonna get.
I really couldn't.
Once Rob gets my table done, I'm gonna get a monitor, like probably a 20 or 30-inch monitor, and then I'll just leave this closed, and basically now it's just your computer.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because unbeknownst to you, we're gonna have guests in the studio here once the studio is done. And if you would like to participate in those sessions, those people would really like you to participate in those sessions. But we're gonna have some real life guests, not famous people, just real life interesting people that I've collected in my group over the years that have stories that they should have been rock stars. So that's coming too.
Right. Right on, dude.
All this you see here, ladies and gentlemen, is temporary.
I have this. So this will be fun. I have a dude. He's a really cool guy. He's called Don Warnick. Call him DW. Huge Kansas City Chiefs fan, but huge music fan. So I poked him the other day. I was like, "Hey, dude, you want to come on the show and talk about music and sports?" He's like, "Hell yeah, brother. Let's just figure it out."
Hell yeah.
We'll have to see what he has. So that would be cool. Kansas City to Illinois to Arizona. That would be a cool little triangle going on because
and you're a
that
Giants
would just
fan.
be badass. And he sounds like a super cool guy. So I mean, I don't know him, but I know him well enough through Facebook interactions and shit that he's all about his posts are all about music or about family or about football. So
awesome.
He's a good dude. He's a really good dude.
And that's what we're looking for. So if you guys are listening out there and you feel like you have something that you can contribute to the show, you don't have to be famous to be on this show. We're going to run out of famous people that we know. We don't know like thousands of them. So if you're just what you would consider, I don't have anything interesting to say, I don't know why I'd be on there, you might be more interesting than you know. Chris and I, if we hadn't been musicians.
You are.
If we hadn't been musicians, we would have been recovering addicts, and that still would have been a podcast. So I'm sure there's something in your life, if you're a listener, that you've done that would interest us that we are not proficient at. I am interested in people who have achieved things at a level that I achieved as a guitar player. We've talked about this. It's the whole 10,000 hour rule.
Yep.
If you've put 10,000 hours into something and become what I consider a master, I don't care if it's cooking, gardening, basket weaving, rock collecting, whatever you're good at, we would be interested in hearing your story.
Right.
So I kind of wanted to get that out there the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It's like, when you see, feel free to reach out anytime. You don't have to be a famous person. We're not just looking for famous people. That's not the idea of the show. The idea of the show is to spread positivity.
Yeah, we had some guy reach out to us on the messaging, and he's trying to spam us with something. So I was like, well, it just depends on how many tacos you can eat at one time. And he responded, I don't understand what you're asking me.
That's why I leave those for you.
Spammer.
That's why I leave those for you, just so you know. I know you like to play with those people.
Right. I was like, right on.
That was my.
I was just like,
that
really?
was my.
You don't know. You don't understand what I'm saying. How many? Yeah. How many tacos can you eat at once, man? Like, it's not that difficult. It's one or it's three, because I can't imagine putting more than 3 tacos in your mouth at the same time, because those, like, imagine a Taco Bell taco. Okay, I don't eat Taco Bell. I did in high school, but imagine Taco Bell taco, right? Even they're not like they advertised, but you really couldn't get 3 or 4 in your mouth, more than 3 or 4 in your mouth, and crunch. You know what I mean? It's just impossible. So he didn't understand that question, so therefore that was the answer. Okay, dude. Well, fuck off.
So. I don't remember the name of the guy's channel, but there's actually a YouTube channel out there.
Okay.
And I wish I could remember, because this guy deserves all the credit. His whole YouTube channel is dedicated to fucking with spam callers, and he will keep them on the air for not on YouTube, but he will keep them on his phone for like 3 hours, and then he will condense it down to like a 12-minute video, right? It's fucking hilarious, because he plays like he's an old man and doesn't know how to work the computer and doesn't know how to work his phone, and just keeps them going so that they don't have time to call other people that will really get spammed by them, right? I thought that was really cool. I ran across that on Facebook the other day.
That's kind of like, remember the Jerky
Same
Boys?
concept. Absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
They were fucking great.
Yeah. Jerky.
We all traded those tapes.
Yeah, if you don't know who the Jerky... Yeah, if you don't know who the Jerky Boys are, Google it, people. And they're the ones that probably single-handedly created the concept of the do not call list.
Absolutely.
Because they would fuck with people like you would not believe. Like
Absolutely.
you would not believe. All right. The missus is on the way home. We're going to go get ready for our run.
All right, brother. I'm going to go get ready to murder a burrito.
It's the murder a burrito. So, real quick here, because this is kind of cool. So, I post silly things on the Facebook. And if you haven't realized this as of late, Facebook will use their artificial intelligence to summarize the post. Okay?
Yes.
Which is a trip. So, of course, it's not doing it now because I wanted to do it now. Fucking thing. Okay. I was going to pull one out and just be like, hey, what did AI say about this? But now it's not doing it, which is irritating. Maybe it's on my phone. Hold on. Maybe it only does it on my phone. As I just hit the microphone. But it's kind of cool. It's cool random things that I post, right? So it's just interesting to see how the technology. There it is. So I put, what is something that doesn't require a license but definitely should? So this is AI. This is Facebook's AI, and just so you understand, AI is going to get more and more prevalent in the next coming years. Yes. Siri is actually getting to the point. Siri right now sucks ass, but Siri is going to turn into what you can actually use as a personal assistant, because she's going to know everything that's in your phone. So again, the question was, what is something that doesn't require a license that should? Well, commentators suggest requiring a license for responsibilities like parenting, pet ownership, towing, and operating certain vehicles. One commentator humorously adds voting to the list. Others argue that the government involvement can worsen situations, while another proposes annual renewals for pet licenses. So there you go. Weird, wild stuff. You heard it here first on the Chris and Mike Show, the 44th episode.
That's awesome.
So there you go. You gotta love that. Yeah. And there's a spam. Hi, Christopher. My name is Benil. Are you still working as a realtor? You know how I know there's spam? Because the only people that call me Christopher, or the only thing that real estate-wise Christopher is attached to, is my license. So that's how I know there's spam text and shit when people reach out to me and say Christopher.
Or they don't use
yeah,
proper English. Like the guy that sent us the message on Facebook
Hello.
that you responded to. If you read that message, it's in broken fucking English.
Totally. So learn how to put tacos in your mouth and then respond to that, and I'll have a conversation with you.
Yeah, because if I have to talk to you, it's going to be a whole different conversation.
Whole different story.
I'm going to bring reality to you real quick, fucker.
Reality. So that's it, boys and girls. This is the Chris and Mike Show. Remember, you're not alone. Tomorrow is always a better day. So if you need to talk to somebody, talk to them. Don't carry the burdens of your depression and your sorrow and your grief alone. There's always somebody that wants to talk to you. Somebody loves you, and they will miss you if you're gone. So don't do that.
Agreed. Amen. Preach
Right?
it. Oh, yeah.
Amen. Football season kicks off this weekend or next?
Next Thursday. Week
Is it
from
Labor
Thursday.
Day weekend they kick off? Okay. So a week from Thursday, football kicks off. On the 2nd of September, taking the
Go
Queen to
Bears.
see yet again one of her all-time favorite bands. Going to take her to see Counting Crows. So we'll talk about that on Tuesday's show and how that show went.
Awesome.
And they're actually
I like that, man.
They're playing with Santana.
Oh, yeah.
I do too. They're playing with Santana, but we're not. Yeah, but we're not going to stay for Santana, man. I'm not a big Santana fan. There's
What?
2 songs that I like from Santana, and he's not going to play them. He's not going to play them because it just. I'm not, dude. I'm just not like. The only reason I know who Santana is when I was a kid is because Neil Schon, the guitarist from Journey, his first gig was in Santana, as like a teenager. Like he wasn't even of legal age playing with Santana. So that's how I ever knew Santana. But I've never been in that whole Latin. Yeah, I've never been into that shit, dude. It's just not my thing, I don't. It's people love him. That's fucking badass. But
He's an amazing
it's
guitar
never been
player.
my jam. So it is. It is what it is. Oh yeah, he is totally. He's just not my thing. You would love that show because you would.
Yeah,
you would
yeah,
just,
you're
but see,
killing me.
I vocally right. Right. But you remember though, lyricist. So what do I do at a concert? I focus on the lyrics. I focus on the singer. Everything else is backup. But I've always just keyed in on the vocalist and what he's doing and how he's interacting and what he's doing with the fans and that kind of jazz. So aside from people like Van Halen, Eddie, right? I mean that's self-explanatory. You cannot not look at him.
Right.
But on a whole, when I go to concerts, it's the vocalist that I'm focused on. I just
No, I mean, that
everything
makes
else
total
is
sense.
backing him up. Right. So where you'll go to a show and you're probably keen in on the guitarist and what he's doing and how he's playing, and the musicians themselves because that's your thing. That's why you and I both caught Kenny at that John Mellencamp show. His snare drum ripped and his drum tech. We've talked about this before. By the time Kenny's hand went up, and for those who are not watching, my hand's going up, and by the time his hand came back down, that drum tech had that snare changed. Like it was
True story.
That had to be a world record of equipment change. Like that was so fucking fast because like boom, broke it, whoosh, whoosh, boom, boom, there it is.
He's done that
fucking
before.
amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. So roadies make the music go around. So
Fucking right.
say hi to the roadie, give him a high
Damn
five,
right.
buy him a beer, buy a
Absolutely.
roadie a beer, man. Be that guy. All right.
They are
I'm
the
gonna
hardest
pee. We're
working
gonna
men
pee.
in the
We're gonna
band.
get a burrito.
Or women.
They are
They're the hardest working people in the
run
band.
And we're gonna have a nice, yes, people, persons place. Hey, Chris, love you, man. I'm Chris. You're Mike. You're Mike. I'm Chris. Hey, man.
Love you
Good
too,
talking.
brother. Have a good run.
Love you, brother. You as well. Well, you're not gonna run. Have a good burrito. We'll talk to
I'm
you
going
soon.
to run to get a burrito. Peace.
Run to get a burrito. Peace out.